It's a great pleasure to introduce to you tonight Venerable Pramote Pamotecho from Thailand. He's a great meditation master of Thailand and have sparked great interest in insight meditation, had generated what is called Venerable Father Pramote phenomenon with millions of people in Thailand that follow his teachings. Some of them never met him. They learned through MP3 downloaded from the website, his website. It's a great pleasure that we got the opportunity to invite him to come here. It took me about a year and a half before we get here. So it's a rare opportunity. And he got thousands of people in the United States that follow him, Thai people that never met him. But they practiced through his teaching, through audio tape, and advanced to the point that amazed him that people can see their own mind, their own thoughts, and spark a lot of interest in this country as well. So it's a great pleasure to present him tonight, and hope you will learn from him and get the most benefit from his teaching. I'll be translating, of course.
เจริญพรทุกท่านคือวันนี้หลวงพ่อจะมาคุยกับพวกเรานะจะให้เห็นภาพรวมทั้งหมดเกี่ยวกับการฝึกจิตใจในทางพระพุทธศาสนา
Tonight he wants to talk to you all to see the whole picture of practicing to learn to see your mind and being taught in Buddhism. In general, when you talk about Buddhism, people would think about rituals in Thailand, and some people thought about silent meditating, and they see that's the whole picture of Buddhism. In fact, the teaching of the Buddha basically is a science of how to free your life from suffering or lessen your suffering. Buddhism is not metaphysics. It's not something that you think about, but Buddhism has a stepwise technique how to free your mind from suffering. To train your mind, there's two types of training. The first one is about tranquility, meditation, to make your mind, make yourself happy through peace and calmness. And the second type is to develop your mind to generate wisdom, so that way would be suitable to your life and live your life properly and free your mind from suffering. Majority of Thai people develop their mind mainly to gain happiness. Only a small portion that practice to gain wisdom. He will talk about the principle of practice and mind development so that you understand and practice correctly to train your mind in both types of meditation. They're both beneficial and will be complementary. The first type is to gain peace through meditation and to gain samadhi or steady mind. And many places would teach you to practice like this, and they varies in their technique. Some is to recite the words, and some just observe your breath. Some would see your tummy rising and falling. Some would do hand movement, and some would observe your posture, walking, standing, sitting, or laying down. So there are many various techniques. People get confused. So which way was correct became a question. In reality, there are many forms that would be suitable for different temperaments, because people varies in their temperaments. So certain technique may be suitable to such person. But in reality, there's only one correct method. Before we train your mind with certain technique, you have to understand and see when the mind is not steady. The mind is not peaceful because they're longing for something that make them happy and not being unhappy. So in general, it would seek for a certain mental objects that will please them, either through sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, thoughts. When they seek for happiness and avoid unhappiness through sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, thoughts, it only become temporary. to please them, and they have to seek to acquire such mental phenomena to please them. If you understand the reason to make you peaceful, main point is to seek the best mental objects that please your mind, so that your mind becomes steady and become one-pointed. Some people are happy by observing your breath, become very happy, very comfortable. Some people may like observing your tummy rising and falling. Some may like to do rhythmic movement with your hands. Some would observe the four major posture: walking, standing, sitting, laying down. So it varies between person to a person. So that's why we end up with various techniques in practicing that will be suitable to your temperaments. So each person may have your own specific method that be suitable to you. There are various techniques in various religions. They have techniques to make your mind calm and peaceful. So it's a common in all religions in such technique. Like Christianity may gain peace through singing, praising God. It makes their mind peaceful and steady. In Muslim, they praying 5 times, called Lamad, 5 times a day, setting their mind towards God. So meditation like that to gain concentration it appears in all sorts of religion, not specific to Buddhism. The key point in gaining steady mind, the secret is to seek the correct mental object for you to practice. And once your mind is mindfully aware in such mental objects that generate happiness, then your mind would not be running around. It would stay steady in such mental objects and make them steady. The secret is to choose the right mental object that make you happy, but has to be free from defilements or kilesa. A certain happiness may occur like when you play cards, but yet it's hidden with greed, hatred, and delusion, and so on. So your mind is not truly peaceful. So you have to choose certain mental object that would not create defilements. In summary, tranquility meditation is to gain peace and calmness. You embed your mind in certain mental objects that generate happiness continuously. But you do not force your mind to be peaceful or calm. If you force your mind, then it becomes not peaceful, will not be peaceful. So you have to choose a thing that make you comfortable in your mind, and then the mind will be peaceful by itself. If you practice meditation until you become happy and peaceful, then the benefit is that your mind gain the mental strength, and then it help you to understand the truth of life. But the bad side is that the mind may attach to such happiness and peace and calmness, and would not like to get out of that state of mind. Tranquility or concentration meditation, it only leads you to calmness, and it's not a true happiness. You will be attached to that cycle off and on continuously without gaining anything more than that. The happiness from a steady mind, a concentrated mind, is like a naughty child. It would play all the time until it's like your mind running around, wandering around until run out of strength. It then will come back to sleep for a while, like an innocent child that running around. It's different than the happiness from wisdom that develop from wisdom, that you have been successful in your life and so on. As if you're successful in your life, you learn to see everything and be happy in that aspect from wisdom. In practicing tranquility meditation, concentration meditation is also have great benefit, because when you develop your mind for wisdom, it's like you work very hard. It's different than when you being peaceful in tranquility. The mind, when you're in tranquility, it let you rest. But when you develop your wisdom, you work hard, it never get any rest. For a while, it will not be able to continue doing your job. It's like you work very hard, your body we become fatigued and cannot do any more work. The mind is the same way. It needs time to rest. So tranquility or concentration meditation will help to generate energy in your mind when you rest through tranquility. The teaching of tranquility meditation to gain a steady mind appears before the time of the Buddha. But insight meditation was discovered by the Buddha himself, only by the Buddha. So if you do not understand insight meditation, then you do not understand the teaching of the Buddha. So now he'll be talking about the principle of insight meditation. The objective is basically to see the truth of your body and mind, which combine into your person, yourself. If once your mind have seen the ultimate reality of your life, then it will free itself from those body and mind, because it has come in touch with reality. Certain reality is known as nirvana, the ultimate peace and happiness. In that state, the mind would no longer struggle to gain any more conditioning of the mind, no more tainting of the mind. Is the end of suffering. The principle of developing wisdom through insight meditation is to see and understand the true nature of your body and mind, or name and form. Once that understand the true nature of name and form, or this body and mind, become disenchanted and discern, like detach and liberate from name and form, and gain ultimate happiness, no longer cling to those name and form, body and mind. The reason we have to understand the true nature of your body and mind, because suffering arises from this body and mind. It's not arising from anything external. If you do not understand the true nature of it, you don't see what caused this suffering. To understand the true nature of your mind, it's not programming your mind or hypnosis, but the Buddha have given the method to see the true nature of your mind, body and mind, and come to see, understand the true nature of what happened within yourself. The tools to see and understand your body and mind, there are two of them. The first one is sati, or mindfulness. Second is samadhi, a steady mind. It's different than the steady mind, mental concentration that you used to understand, because those mental concentration or the steady mind that you used to understand is kind of gear your mind, make your mind become comfortable and relaxed and peaceful. But this is a different type of a steady mind, because it pulls you out of your thoughts and let you become aware yourself. The method to gain mindfulness and steady mind, they have specific technique to allow your mindfulness to be aware of what's happening with this body and mind. Once this mindfulness occurs, you come to see the changing nature that's happening with your body and mind, such as you observe your breath, breathing in and out, you're aware of it. But once you become angry, you can see the changing nature of your breath, like you're breathing harder, so you become aware of it immediately to see the changing nature of your mind, your body and mind. The way to generate mindfulness or sati, you can use the same technique that you used to practice tranquility meditation, but you embed your mind in different themes. Instead of embed your mind in one theme to gain one pointedness, like one mental object, to gain mindfulness, you just be aware of the changing nature of your breath, like if you use a theme of your breath. When your mind sneaks away, you become aware of it immediately. Or if your mind combines with your breath, you're aware of it as well. If there is any changing nature of your breath, you become aware of it immediately. Such a way, your mindfulness appears spontaneously. Once he went to visit the late Venerable Luang Por Thien while he was teaching his student at Wat Sanam Nai. They taught the rhythmic dynamic meditation to be aware through the body movement. So he tried practicing the method himself and helped him to become aware of through body movement. And one day he saw a friend across the street. He was delighted because I haven't met him for a while. He would start to cross the street, and then while he was stepping forward, his mindfulness caught on the bodily movement and make him become aware of himself through this bodily movement while he was moving. There are various techniques, there's so many kinds. The method he learned from his master, the late Venerable Luang Pu Dun, is to observe your mind, his mind, to see when your mind is happy or unhappy, good or bad. And then the mind kind of memorize such feeling, the different types of feeling that happen in your mind, in his mind, like when it's angry or filled with desire, or the mind was wandering, or the mind is happy or sad. Then in that way it would catch the mind of various mental objects that happen. The mind memorized such changing nature that happen in the mind. And when you attend meeting, when he attend meeting, people kind of argue with each other. You may feel angry. The mind immediately caught on the anger because it recognized such nature of anger. In summary, you become mindfully aware in the moving nature, movement, or the stillness that happen at the body, the motion or stillness that happen with the mind. The mind can memorize it very clearly in such movement or stillness that happen at your body and mind. So whenever there's some changing nature, the mind would caught on and the mindfulness would occur spontaneously. In general, people would train the mind to gain calmness through tranquility, and a smaller number would train to gain mindfulness. And the least amount of people would train their mind to gain a steady mind. A steady mind is when your mind is steady and be suitable to advance into wisdom, to develop wisdom. It works together with sati or mindfulness. When you're only mindful, the mind would be focusing on the mental object, either at your breath, you practice mindful breathing, or at your hand when you do the hand movement and so on, or at your feet when you do walking meditation. So the mind moves in your feet, and the mind is basically lack of a steady mind because lack of concentration. It moves into your feet already. So to train to gain mental concentration, steady mind, there are two types of training. The first one is to make your mind peaceful in only one theme or mental object. It's called aramanu panichan. You focus on one mental object. The second type is called lakkanu panichan, which is your mind becomes steady but be aware of the changing nature of your mind. As mentioned, if you train your mind to be tranquil, you just focus on one theme, mental object, continuously. But the second type is to gain steady mind, but yet become a knower, a blissful one, and awakened one. Is basically you become aware of what's happening within your body and mind. Like when your mind moves, basically that means if you're not aware of it, you'll be deluded, not seeing the truth of body and mind. Like when you think, you forgot about your body and mind. The only thing you're aware of is your thoughts. You can train your mind to be mindful, to be an awakened one, blissful one. Basically, you just become aware when your mind moves around. Like say when you look at the image of the footprint of the Buddha, your mind can move into the picture. It forgot about your body and mind already. Mind move into the picture. You just become aware of the mind that's moving away. That means your mind is awakened already because you're aware of the mind movement. Sometimes you can observe what's happening through not only through your eyes, like mentioned, or through your ears, your nose, your tongue, your body and mind. But there's too many things to observe. Just simply be aware of the mind movement or your thoughts, that is run away in the thoughts. In such a way, it's the opposite of awareness. If you're aware, it's the opposite of sneaking thoughts. The technique he learned from his master, Venerable Luang Pu Dun, is observe his own mind. If the mouth is with defilements, he's aware of it. Unwholesome, he's aware. Or when it's wholesome, he's aware. If the mind is happy, he's aware. Mind is unhappy, he's aware. So in such a way, he's aware of the changing nature of his mind. In such a way, he gains mindful awareness. At the same time, when you see his mind moving around, he's just aware and acknowledge that immediately. He gains a steady mind, a type that let you gain mindful awareness at the same time. You can observe your mind. It's the easiest way, your own mind, because you already know of such nature, about anger, greed, desire, delighted, happy, unhappy, grief. You already knew that nature, those kind of nature, but you neglect to see them. You never pay attention to your own mind. If you see the changing nature of your mind, you gain mindful awareness already. If you see your mind moving around, that means you already gain a steady mind. When you have gained those two tools, first one is sati or mindfulness, second is samadhi or steady mind, then you're ready to learn the truth about your body and mind. The principle of learning about your body and mind, basically, you just make yourself as an observer. Know when your mind, when it's steady, free from thoughts, you just see and aware of what's happening. This is the main difference between tranquility meditation and insight meditation. Tranquility meditation only see the stillness of your body and stillness of your mind. But insight meditation, to gain wisdom, your mind is only observer. If something that happened with your body, your mind just observe. And anything different from the true nature of your mind is aware of it. The mind is not in only one mental object. It's not still. The mind is just observe and be aware. It can be aware of 100,000s or millions of things that's ongoing. You just be aware of it. When your mind is steady, you become aware of the changing natures happening in your body. When your mind is steady and aware, it sees the changing nature of your mind. So whatever phenomena that arise at your body and mind, you become aware of it. And you can see that the body and mind is different. They are like tiny space between the two of them. And you also see things that's not the true nature that coming to taint them. It's like when you're angry, you're aware. When you're happy or unhappy, you're aware of it. You see that body and mind are separate. Like the mind is being conditioned and your mindfulness is aware of it. You see that the separation of the body and mind, immediately you gain wisdom. You can see your body is not yours, and you see the changing nature within your mind, like happiness, unhappiness. It's not your mind either. It's not you. It's not yours. You can see even your mind sometimes become a knower, sometimes a thinker. They keep changing all the time. It's not steady at one place. Sometimes it's think, sometimes it's a knower. So you should practice in the most natural way. With insight meditation, you're not intervening in your practice, and you're not controlling your body and mind. You only see that your mind is a knower. You just let it be aware of it naturally with mindfulness, and you're not embedded into certain mental object, and also not clinging to become a knower and so on. You can see that knower also arise and cease all the time. So you be mindfully aware of your body, mindfully aware of your mind in its reality. But the mind has to be steady and be neutral, equanimous, and not intervene. Like if you're happy, you want to keep such happiness. Or when it's peaceful, you want to keep such peace. Or when the mind is filled with suffering, you try to solve it. That's intervening. You just be aware of it with neutrality, just pure awareness, as is. Aware of your body as it is, aware of your mind as it is, without any intervention. You're just aware of the changing nature of your body and mind without intervening, as if you're watching a soap opera without any intervening. The benefit of seeing the changing nature of your body and mind is that when it comes to a certain point, your mind would accept the truth as is. That whatever happened in your body, it accepts it, and whatever happened with your mind, it accepts it as is. When your mind accepts the truth as it is, everything but temporarily, either body and mind, but temporarily, impermanent. So then the mind accepts the truth, then it won't suffer. It suffers because the mind is not accepting the truth. For example, your body keep aging. For people who never practice any meditation, so you suffer a great deal. Like when you're sick, you also become unhappy. But if you train your mind, you see that your body is something temporary. It's only transient phenomenon. Even your breath is only temporary, or the body movement is temporary. You accept the truth as it is. Even happiness, unhappiness, also temporary. So you see the norm of nature of your body and mind. You're not suffer. Like when you're getting old, it doesn't affect your mind. When you're sick, it doesn't affect your mind. Or when you're dying, you're not affecting your mind. Your mind stay peaceful and happy beyond the changing nature of your body. When you see the changing nature that happens with your body and mind frequently, either happiness and unhappiness that pass through, good or bad that came by, or greed-hatred delusion and so on, or sadness that came by, you see but the transient nature of them. So the mind accepts the truth as it is. Everything that pass on is only temporary. Even happiness that come by or unhappiness that want to push away, that you face with, you're not being swayed or be conditioned by those phenomena. You know that suffering is also temporary. So the mind became neutral, equanimous, unbiased. That way the mind stopped struggling. It encountered true happiness. Your job is basically, it's not very hard in doing insight meditation. Your mind just has to be steady, free from thoughts, and see the changing nature that happened in your body and mind. Everything that came by is only temporary. What happened in your body is only temporary. What happened in your feeling, also temporary. Happiness and unhappiness, it just happened temporarily. You don't have to seek for happiness or run away from unhappiness. If you seek for happiness or run away from happiness, it causes your mind to be more chaotic, become unpeaceful, and more suffering. If your mind free from those defilements, you free from any conditioning, you're free from any chaos, you will encounter the true peace and happiness called nirvana. It's the enormous happiness that general population would not understand, never encounter. Because people would base their happiness on living with someone you love, or get to see your friend, you become happy. It depends on external object, materials. If you come to understand your body and mind, you also understand the world as well. You come to achieve a true happiness. There's nothing is comparable. It's beyond description. Previous happiness that you gain from samadhi, that steady mind that you used to gain, is like a toy for a child, uncomparable to this type of happiness in nirvana. Your mind will come to see this, the truth about your body and mind. When it see this clearly, the mind become free, void of defilements, void of any conditioning or tainting nature of the mind. It's different than nothingness. It's only void of defilements, void of suffering, void of conditioning. But you encounter enormous happiness. Your mind is calm, clear, bright. It's basically, you don't even have to depend on steady mind any longer. The mind would be bright all day and night. And it's void, it's bright, luminous, it's pure, no more swaying, no more struggling, no more conditioning, no more movement. It's like encounter a true long weekend. So another guideline is that you see the changing nature of your mind. That the mind is wholesome or unwholesome, whether the mind is treading the path of nirvana, the righteous path, or the fruition of it. You tread that path and see the changing nature of your mind. If you can't see it, just come to observe your body, because this body is like a house. If you keep watching the front gate, you will come to see who is the owner of the house, or your mind, that it come through, that pass by. If you're too tired, you come to practice this tranquility, concentration, meditation, you gain the mental strength, and then come back to observe your mind again. If you just practice according to the way he advised, some people only take 1 month, some other may take 2 or 3 months, that change their life magnificently. It used to be a guy that with a lot of suffering, it lessened his suffering or maybe even stop those suffering. So practitioner, meditator can observe the mind, if not observe the body. If not, you just practice the concentration or tranquility meditation again, kind of back and forth between this, observe the mind or body or tranquility. In such a way, you come to see the changing nature that's happening in true nature of your body and mind. There was some saying in the Buddha's time that there's some warning among other religions or other cults during those times that be careful of the Buddha. He has magical mantra that can change people's mind, because this is the truth that he can change bad people into a good person, change people that are full of suffering into no suffering. If you practice only tranquility meditation, your life would be alternating from being peaceful and then you become chaotic, wandering mind again, alternating. But if you develop insight meditation, you gain wisdom. If you practice according to the guideline he gave, you're mindfully aware of your body and mind. With a steady mind and neutral mind, then you come to realize the truth, see whatever happened with the true nature of your mind without being swayed by those conditioning. And you come to encounter the true happiness. Unlike those previous practice of tranquility meditation, which is only alternating between wandering mind and peaceful mind. But the insight meditation gives you a true peace and happiness. He's been talking over an hour. Is not trying to persuade you to believe in what he was saying, but he was inviting you to practice insight meditation so you can come to see it through yourself. No other people can do it for you. So you have to try it, to come to practice and come to see it by yourself. If you have any questions, you can pose questions to him. Feel free to ask. Yes, please.
ข้าหลวงพ่อ ครับ So to practice Buddhism, is meditation, especially Vipassana, the most important? Is it the key in practicing Buddhism?
Without insight meditation or Vipassana meditation, there's no Buddhism. You got it right. Because tranquility, concentration, meditation appears in all religions. Never insight meditation.
Thank you.
สวัสดีค่ะนมัสการ My question is, I've been practicing meditation kind of on and off for a couple of years. So when I meditate, I use breathing, and I feel like I can be aware of my mind. But in daily life, should you be aware of the thought? I think you answered this. Or should you go back to the mental object? Like, go back to your breathing?
So in your daily life, if you just observe your breath, you only gain tranquility, because your mind is not wandering around. It stays steady in that place. But if you breathe, your mind become aware of it. Or if while you're breathing, your mind sneak away, you're aware of it, then you gain insight and see the changing nature. So he said he practiced observing his breath for 22 years, from 7 years old to 29 years old. The only thing he gained is peaceful mind and wandering mind alternating. Nothing more than that, no wisdom, until he met his master, Venerable Luang Pu Dun. And his master told him to just observe your mind instead. And then within 7 months, his master said, you don't have to come to me anymore. You see the truth already.
I've always tried to meditate and never got full control of my emotions, so was never able to. Do you have any tips?
He said, not trying to force or control your emotion. Just observe things as if it's someone's emotion, not yours. Just observe as it is, and then you see the changing nature of your emotion. It will stop it. The more your mind keeps changing, like a swaying of your emotion, if you see that, that means you gain more, you strengthen your mind. It's even better, because your mind is more steady to catch that. If you don't see any changing nature of your emotion or your mind, that means you're stuck in the tranquility, no wisdom. You're wandering mind? Anyone?
สวัสดีค่ะคุณพระเจ้า So my question is, I've been practicing meditation for a couple years now, and I think I was at a time where I could separate the mind and the body, but I wasn't quite sure. Could you give me some homework to do at home, please? I had a teacher that she listened to your CDs too, and she said that I did, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I'm just trying to confirm. Okay, thank you.
That's correct. He said to be careful not to control the knower. Your mind is the knower, but not controlling your mind and become rigid in the knower. Don't focus at the knower or your mind.
Any more advice to improve or to progress?
He said your mind is keep wandering around, but your mind is too. You control your mind too much. Just be natural. He said, don't force you to ask. It's a good chance, though, if you want to do it now. So he's been talking over an hour and a half, and he's been preaching the whole week already. So it's a long week for him. So don't think that practicing meditation, inside meditation, is too hard. It's not that hard. It's about knowing the true nature of yourself and knowing yourself, basically. Don't think that everything is yours, that you think that your body and mind is yours, because this all the elements that combine into your body is only temporarily. All the materials are but temporarily. Your feelings are but temporarily. So if you come to understand life, that everything is but temporarily, then it will become disenchanted, not clinging to your body and mind. So if you truly understand your body and mind, the more you understand it, you can see that happiness and unhappiness that happen to your body and mind is but temporarily. Then your mind will come to understand about this suffering, and the mind will come to the point of tossing away of this body and mind, letting go. You come to the pure nature of your mind, that is extreme happiness beyond your body and mind. it's hard to understand unless you put it into practice. What you gain, the extreme happiness, enormous happiness, and a true freedom, because this body cannot buy you down into those suffering any longer. That's the end of it. Thank you so much. ขอบพระคุณมาก